Hi friends. Today I'm going to tell you a little story. The story of my first business and how it failed. Hey friends, welcome back, and to those who are new, thanks for joining us. I'm Jen, single mom, artist, and entrepreneur. And my channel is all about showing you that it is possible to build the life that you want, even while doing it by yourself. So today I want to tell you a little story. The story of my first business and how it ultimately failed. So let's set the stage. I was a ripe 23 years old, right out of college. I double majored, visual communications and photography, with an art history minor. I have always been a bit of an overachiever. It's just how I'm geared. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it all the way. I have two speeds, 0 and 120. There is no in between. I either do it or I don't. That was true in college, and that was true with my first business. The story begins with a good friend of mine getting married. Her wedding was scheduled in the spring of my senior year. The wedding venue that she had booked caught on fire a month, I think, before her wedding. I think it was a month before, and burned to the ground. It was tragic. Everyone was very upset. It was a very big deal. So in the short term, they moved her to her wedding to a different venue across town. It was when she got moved to that other venue that we found out that it was for sale. Now, myself and my mom and a couple of other friends were very involved in helping to decorate the new venue for the wedding and helping to make sure that everything was going to be set up and to her satisfaction. And she had a wedding coordinator, and the wedding coordinator obviously did a lot of that, but we stepped up and helped big time as well. Because by changing the venue, the entire look of her wedding was going to be changed. So there was work to be done to give her what she really wanted. Several different people made comments during that process. You should buy this place. You should be doing this for a living. Why aren't you doing this? This is what you should be doing. And a couple of months went by, a lot of talking, a lot of planning. A business plan was written. And while we didn't buy the building outright, we did set up a lease agreement, and it became my banquet hall. I loved that business. It was my baby. Now, this was before I had kids, so that business was my child. I was in that building 7 days a week. I loved the work. It was extremely rewarding, helping people plan their wedding day. You know, it was high stress, absolutely high stress, but it was also so much fun. Just before my business hit the 3-year mark, we ran out of money, working capital, and had to close our doors. Now, that story is not original. That happens to so many businesses. In fact, something like 80%, I don't know if that statistic is totally correct, I'll look it up in the final video, of businesses fail in their first 3 years. And I believe with like restaurant and catering type businesses, it's even higher than it is for other brick and mortar type businesses. Businesses are expensive and they're difficult, and the learning curve is very, very steep. I was 23 years old. I was such young fruit. I learned so much. I learned so much about the importance of solid legal contracts. I learned so much about figuring out how to foresee the unforeseeable. A lot of things were corrected along the way, but a lot of them weren't corrected early enough. And ultimately, it went under. It happens. That's business. And for a very, very long time, I thought that the failure of that business made me a failure. Now, that's not true. Life is full of failures, hundreds of them, right? In the grand scheme of things, this was just one other small failure. But boy, did it feel enormous. Losing that business threw me into a very deep depression. And for a very, very long time, I was afraid to try again. But it taught me so much. It taught me that failure is part of the learning process. Failure is what leads to future success. And when you sit down and talk to any super successful business person, they can recount dozens, if not hundreds, of failures along the way. Because failure is part of how we get to success. It took me a while to realize that and to really internalize it and understand it. But once I did, a lot of the fear around beginning something new melted away. And now, it doesn't faze me to start a new project. It doesn't faze me to try something new. Because in the end, that's how you find the win, right? You have to keep trying new things. You have to keep moving. You have to keep going forward. So if you're afraid to go for that thing that you've been dreaming about, you have to let that fear go, and you just have to go for it. Because until you do, you'll never know if you could have succeeded. And if you don't succeed, try again a different way. Seriously. I know that sounds cliche, but it's the God's honest truth. Nobody becomes a success overnight. Nobody gets their dream anything just falling in their lap. Okay, maybe 1 in a billion people that happens to, but that's not the norm. Most of us have a whole stack of failures underneath that success. And that's okay, because that's how you get there. So I want you to reframe what failure means to you. Instead of failure being something that's shameful or disgraceful or that holds you back or instills fear, I want you to think of failure as the next stepping stone to success. I want you to think of failure as the lesson you needed to learn so you can get it right the next time, because that's all it really is. And I still have failures every single day. I try new marketing tactics that don't work. I do all kinds of things in any given day that don't work. But that's okay, because eventually something does. And for everything that doesn't work, the things that do work so amazingly and so over the top well, I don't even remember the failures anymore. It was almost a decade after my first business failed before I started another business. 10 years. I allowed myself to be too afraid to try again. Don't be that girl. And frankly, none of us has 10 years to wait. The business I started after my banquet hall was successful. I did very well with it. I'm not doing it anymore because I've grown and I've evolved and my vision for my life has changed, and that's okay because I'm a human being and that's what we're supposed to do. And now I have new endeavors that I'm also seeing success with. New endeavors that I'm passionate about and that I love and that are leading to the path that I want for my future. It took a long time to get there. Don't waste the time that I waste. Get out there and do the thing. Whatever the thing is, get out there and do it. Don't be afraid. Just take the lead. Thank you for listening to my little story today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop a comment or a like below. Tell me if you like this content, if you want to see more of this kind of content. I'd love to hear from you. You have a beautiful, spectacular, amazing day, and I will see you soon.